I'm just going to tell you, you're going to have to wait and see. It's coming up soon, but it's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. And, Justin handles that really, really well and doesn't want to say she's a liar or doesn't want to say that's inappropriate or doesn't want to say that's part of someone else's job.
Buckle up, because we're diving into one of the most explosive Hollywood scandals of 2025. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds thought they could outsmart everyone, manipulating the media, curating a victim narrative, and burying evidence. But when deleted messages were restored and their carefully crafted story unraveled, the truth hit them hard. This is a tale of a fabricated smear campaign, a shocking privacy breach, and a legal battle that's turning Tinseltown upside down. Let's unpack it. It all began with a film, a project meant to be Blake Lively's shining moment. But behind the scenes, a power struggle was brewing. Text messages, screenshots, and iCloud data became weapons in a high-stakes game of control and public perception. At the heart of it, a legal showdown that exposed Blake and Ryan's alleged attempt to rewrite the story, literally. In December 2024, Blake Lively sent a press pack to major outlets like the LA Times and New York Times. The package included carefully selected screenshots of text messages, cropped and curated to paint her as the victim of a smear campaign. Headlines followed, sympathy poured in, and the story spread like wildfire. Blake had been targeted, harassed, and unfairly dragged through the mud. But here's the twist. None of those screenshots were part of her legal complaint filed with the California Department of Civil Rights, CRD. Not a single one. Why would someone leak evidence to the press but not submit it in court? Simple. In court, evidence must be verified, filed, and cross-examined. It has to hold up under scrutiny. In the media, it just needs to look convincing. Blake's press pack wasn't about proving a case. It was about controlling the narrative. And for a moment, it worked. Until Brian Freridman and his legal team stepped in and tore it apart. Freridman's team reviewed every document submitted to the CRD. Surprise! Those screenshots were nowhere to be found. They weren't part of Blake's complaint or any official exhibit. They were floating in the wind, designed to sway public opinion, but deliberately kept out of the legal process. This raised eyebrows in the courtroom. But the real bombshell? Those screenshots weren't even extracted using proper forensic tools like Celebrite, the industry standard for legal evidence. They came straight from someone else's iCloud, Jennifer Abel's to be exact. Here's where it gets dark. Accessing someone's private iCloud account without permission is not just shady, it's illegal. Jennifer Abel, a former employee, had left the company, but her iCloud was still syncing to a company phone, now controlled by Blake's team. Text messages, call logs, and photos were being monitored in real time. One damning screenshot, dated August 5, 2024, showed a timestamp of today at 12:06 p.m. That's not a forensic pull. That's live surveillance. Someone was actively inside Abel's iCloud, capturing messages as they happened. Under federal and California law, this is a clear violation of the Stored Communications Act and the Federal Wiretap Act. Once an employee leaves, accessing their personal cloud data without consent is a federal privacy breach. Stephanie Jones, tied to Blake's team, claimed she never accessed Abel's iCloud post-employment. But the digital evidence tells a different story. Screenshots submitted to the press, including one referencing a Hailey Bieber article, were pulled directly from Abel's iCloud photo library, not the phone itself. Abel confirmed this when she noticed duplicate texts appearing on her device even after leaving the company. She changed her iCloud password and the ghost activity stopped. Freridman didn't hold back, calling it a calculated decision to spy on a former employee to fuel Blake's legal strategy. The court agreed, flagging it as a deliberate act of surveillance. These stolen messages weren't just archived. They were leaked to major publications to frame Blake as the underdog. But the texts Blake's team cherry-picked conveniently omitted her own threats, like one where she allegedly threatened to withhold her contract unless her demands were met, or another about blocking Justin Baldoni over a retaliation clause in her 17-point agreement. This wasn't just about leaked texts. The scandal ties back to a battle over the film's final cut. On May 13, 2024, Sony and Wayfair tested Justin Baldoni's version of the film. It scored a stellar 94% with women under 35, and 74% of audiences said they'd recommend it. 3 days later, on May 16th, the trailer dropped. On May 18th, Blake held a private screening of her cut in New York, but shared no audience feedback. By May 20th, tensions escalated. Blake threatened to pull back from promoting the film, and even hinted at ending Baldoni's career with false accusations. A second round of testing showed Baldoni's cut still at 94%, while Blake's scored 82%, with only 59% recommending it.
But what Ryan Reynolds, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie, but he's used it, on Deadpool, and to make fun of Justin Baldoni.
Come here, girl. Who are you? Oh, I'm Deadpool. And I guess you're Deadpool too. But in here, everybody calls me Nice Pool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Lady Pool. She is gorgeous. She just had a baby too, and can't even tell. I don't think you're supposed to say that. That's okay. I identify as a feminist. Right.
On May 17th, Ryan Reynolds blocked Baldoni, not over misconduct, but during this edit war. Internal messages from Jennifer Abel reveal the strategy. He blocked you? Is he a 12-year-old girl? Abel wrote, sarcastically noting the move was part of a plan to chip away at Baldoni until he caved to Blake's demands. Another message outlined a blueprint to document everything on set, identifying witnesses and allies to counter Blake's claims. This wasn't damage control. It was a premeditated legal hit. Blake's team even dragged Taylor Swift's name into the mess. Taylor allowed her song to be used in the trailer despite a tight budget, a favor born of emotional investment. But Blake allegedly used it as leverage, threatening to pull the song unless she got more editing control. Internal communications from May 18th to 20th confirm this coercion, with Blake making Taylor's participation conditional. Taylor had no idea her name was being weaponized, and there's no evidence she gave permission for this tactic.
What do you make of that?
What I make of that is that if your wife is sexually harassed, you don't make fun of Justin Baldoni. You don't make fun of the situation. You take it very seriously. You file HR complaints. You raise the issue, and you follow a legal process. What you don't do is mock the person and turn it into a joke.
The retaliation clause in Blake's contract was the trap. It allowed her to frame any opposition, whether over the edit, marketing, or trailer, as retaliation. The moment her cut lost to Baldoni's, she pulled the trigger, labeling it a smear campaign. But the timing tells the truth. Her smear claim followed poor test scores, not abuse. By May 20th, she was threatening to ditch promotion, and Ryan's block of Baldoni was a strategic move to protect their investment, not a reaction to misconduct. Justin Baldoni's team saw it coming. They documented every communication, tightened meetings, and recorded interactions. That's why Friedman's defense is airtight. They have receipts for every move. Blake's narrative of a woman fighting workplace hostility doesn't match the dates, the scores, or the restored text chains now before a judge. The so-called evidence she leaked to the press looks more like theft, and her media advantage has become a legal liability. The courts don't care about curated PR stories. They care about facts, dates, and chains of custody.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working in digital.
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
The restored messages, pulled through court-ordered subpoenas and metadata, expose Blake's team's manipulation. What was meant to bury Baldoni is now burying them. This isn't just a Hollywood drama. It's a cautionary tale about digital intrusion, fabricated narratives, and the consequences of playing dirty in the public eye. What do you think? Was this a calculated setup or a full-blown privacy scandal? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going. If you're as shocked as we are, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more deep dives into the stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.